The largest drop in the history of the stock market outside of 2020 during the pandemic crash just happened. The US government decided to tariff over 180 countries and territories, including a few uninhabited volcanic islands. Yet despite the tariffs on penguins and the stock market crashing, there's something much bigger at play here. Something going on in the background that will completely change the world and enter an era that we have not seen in generations. You see, today, modern policymakers view tariffs as quick fixes, no matter how many enemies they make or who they may hurt. As the recent American tariffs of April 22nd, 2025 have already sparked a spectacular stock market collapse, one wonders if we are doomed to yet again repeat these same economic catastrophes, but on a grander scale. You see, the US government under Trump's revival tour dropped a political bombshell, sweeping tariffs, a hefty 34% on Chinese imports and a cool 20% on everything European, a minimum 10% on pretty much every other country. Think of it like an economic fistfight, but instead of punches, they threw import duties. You see, today, the stock market was a bloodbath. The Dow Jones Industrial Average nosedived nearly 1,500 points, losing 3.5%, erasing roughly $2 trillion of market value overnight. The S&P 500 dropped 4%, while the Nasdaq, home to the once untouchable tech giants, cratered 5.2%. It was a financial horror movie, and the popcorn, well, it wasn't free. Within hours, investors discovered a cruel twist. Those beautiful global supply chains they loved had become hostage situations from the United States government. Even the invincible tech overlords weren't safe. Apple stock plunged over 8%, obliterating billions of dollars in seconds. Amazon and Nvidia lost around 7%. Why? Because suddenly, having your entire business depend on assembling overpriced electronics in a country you're economically attacking seemed a bit short-sighted. Currency traders who generally love volatility briefly paused to question their career choices. Yet as terrifying as this stock plunge has been over the last 24 to 48 hours, this is just the opening act. Beneath the market's bubbly surface lay decades of reckless borrowing, speculative mania, and complacency. And here's the thing, virtually no one is prepared. Governments have no fiscal room left to maneuver. They're stuck between a rock, which is high debt, and a hard place, which is political gridlock. Stimulus checks and bailouts, they're kind of off the table right now. Citizens already are angry about inflation and debt accumulation, and so it would be really tough to cause more of that. Central banks are similarly trapped. Interest rates remained elevated due to stubborn inflation, so cutting rates aggressively would risk spiraling prices and potential currency collapses. The Federal Reserve, the ECB, and the Bank of Japan collectively sighed, and I've sort of agreed that they are almost out of monetary magic tricks to do if things go bad. Households and businesses, well, they are also in a bleak scenario. Savings rates have plummeted. Many Americans lack even $1,000 in emergency funds right now. Businesses, especially small ones, have thin cash reserves and mountains of debt. Layoffs are also piling up right now, with every industry suddenly facing downsizing. GDP forecasts are plunging by the hour. Consumer confidence is collapsing faster than, well, crypto scams. Politicians are squabbling at each other, and central banks are worried. And so if this were to continue, there are two poor possible outcomes. One is we enter something like a very deep recession or depression lasting a few years. Unemployment spikes, people lose their homes, their jobs, their life savings, and things start to get really bad. Or the government decides to, well, do things like keep printing money and taking on more debt, which will further hurt the middle class. It will keep inflating assets, make the cost of living go up, and just push the problem down the line a little bit further. Also, because the USA seems to be making less allies recently, there's a good chance that geopolitical conflicts will potentially escalate in some scenarios, and it could be something like China and Taiwan. Now, those geopolitical risks probably will not come into effect in the next year or so, but as we've seen throughout history, tariffs on this scale across the entire world tend to have domino effects.